This week on The Valley.
Person. You need to go get help for self and for our son. He cannot grow up and become a person like you.
I'll never give you for this. Never.
I didn't make you grow.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of The Valley, Season 2, Episode 2. Let's get right into it. Listen, you guys, I've been telling y'all since last year that The Valley is that show, okay? Like, it is so dramatic. Like, it's such a distinct show. It's not, quite Housewives, but it's also not your typical Bravo spinoff. We're getting some drama that is just unbelievable. Like, it's intense. And I'm glued to the screen. So let's get started. So the episode begins with Brittany and Jasmine. They went over to Janet's house. She made some breakfast casserole for them. So they're asking what happened at the party with Janet and Kristen. And of course, Janet gives her version of what happened. She says, well, last night went downhill fast. I did apologize for dragging Kristen in with Zach's comment about my pregnancy, but she went in more and it felt like I was talking to a crazy person. Janet then begins to cry. She says that what happened last year really affected her, which I can definitely believe, but let's not pretend like she didn't do a lot of bad stuff too last year. Jasmine says, well, you did unblock Zach, so maybe that's a step forward. Then we head over to Jax's house. Kristen comes over. Jax looks pretty rough. Kristen tries to sit in a chair and it's broken. Jax broke it, among other things that he was throwing around. So they talk about that night where he got violent. Jax explains to Kristen again, Brittany was telling me that she wanted to fix our marriage. I then see the messages on the iPad, and when I found out that she was hooking up with my friend, I lost control. Jax says that right now he's miserable. He is not happy. He feels disconnected from his family. He can't see his kid. It's a lot. Kristen says Brittany's going through a lot. It's really hard on her. To which Jax says, well, what about me? No one ever checks up on me and how I'm feeling. Kristen says, that's because you're the one who's effing up right now. Like, I've literally been here. I've heard you come at her, calling her fat, ugly, worthless, all this stuff. Of course, Jax denies it, but Kristen says she's heard it. She's been present when he's called her that, and I definitely believe that's true. Kristen says to him, the fact that you can't be alone with your son because of how you react should make you wake up. How is rock bottom not for you right now? That was intense. Then Zach goes to Brittany's rental. He brought her some flowers, some food. I thought that was really nice. So Brittany says that Jax texted her earlier. He said that he misses his kid. He also said to her, if you can send sexy videos of yourself to some guy, you should be able to check up on me. Jax is something else. So they talk about that. But switching topics, as it relates to Janet, Brittany says to Zach that he needs to have a conversation with Janet. Zach says that Janet is just as manipulative as Jax is. Zach feels like Brittany can't really see when Janet is being wrong, when she's wrong in general. And Zach, as he's talking about this, he actually begins to cry. He feels like there has been some distance between him and Brittany because of Janet. It feels like Brittany's taking Janet's side a lot of the times. Zach says he's also crying because he was dating a guy named Benji and they broke up and he could get deported. They still love each other, but he's married. That seems like a lot. All right, moving along, Michelle goes over to her old house where Jessie still lives. I wonder how she feels being there, knowing that she used to live there. Anyway, as much as they hate each other, they hate each other's guts, they still have to communicate because they have a child. So Jessie pulls out a large calendar to make a schedule regarding the kid, and oh my gosh, they can't even have a simple conversation about scheduling without a fight. Michelle gets so agitated and defensive. You've gone on 4 trips. Jesse, who's the nanny? It's a lot. And I'm not saying I like Jesse or that he's a good guy or that I'm on his side. No, because I actually don't really like him. I think he's just as problematic. But I'm sure, It appears as though he can at least have a conversation without having such a strong negative attitude as she does. So they're arguing. Jesse says, you can say whatever you want about me, but I'm a great father. She says that she's gonna have the daughter for the holidays. And he starts to choke up and his eyes begin to tear up because he says that he doesn't want to be alone during both Thanksgiving and Christmas. He wants to be with his kid. This doesn't move Michelle in any way. Matter of fact, she says, you like to cry and make so you can like have like sympathy and make me look like a cold person and pretend you're sensitive. She's actually, you guys, she actually said that. He's here sitting with tears in his eyes and she says, you want to act like you're sensitive. She says to him, you treat me bad. You've told me in the past that you don't even give a F about me being the mother of your child. Jesse says that he never said that. Michelle says, yes, you did. I swore on my mother. Yeah, you've said that. Jesse says, well, you've also sworn on Isabella that you didn't cheat on me, and you did. So Jesse firmly believes that Michelle cheated on him twice. Michelle then brings up his new girlfriend who lives in the OC. She says, do you know what your girlfriend that you were dating now says to my friends? It's actually embarrassing and I actually feel bad for you. She's told them that she's sleeping with other people. Jesse says, and who is this friend that's telling you this? Michelle then says, Sheena. Jesse says, okay, well, we'll call Sheena right now. So they do. By the way, it's Sheena, the thirsty girl from Vanderpump Rules. Yeah, that one. So she answers. Jesse asks, is my girlfriend telling you that she's sleeping with other people? Sheena says, yes. Specifically, some guy from Baywatch. Jesse says, okay, thank you. Oof, well, that was tough. Jesse and Danny then go visit Jax. It's a bit of an intervention. They've talked to Brittany and Jax not being able to see Cruz at the moment, so they want to be there to talk through it with him, see if maybe they can help, and also try and see what the main issues are. Like, what is at the core of this problem? Jax says that he's not as bad as what he's being made out to be, and he's going to be checking himself into a clinic. He says that all he wants to do is be a good father. So, as both Jason and Danny are there, Jax gets a call from the facility. So they say, hello, is this Jason? At first I was like, Jason? That's Jax's real name. So the person on the other side of the phone is asking him questions about like how he's feeling, is he depressed, all this like, basic questions to know about him before he's checked in, like where is he at mentally. So then they tell him that to be in this facility, it's going to be 30 days, $30,000. Damn. So he's going to have to make a decision. He doesn't want to go the 30 days, and I'm sure he doesn't want to pay the $30,000 either, but he's going to have to think about it. Moving right along, Brittany, Janet, and Michelle go out for lunch. Brittany tells them that the other day she ordered a bunch of things for her new place, but she has them delivered from Amazon to her old house where Jax is. So this day, she had ordered a bunch of stuff. She went to go pick it up. Jax wasn't there, so she went inside, and when she went to the bathroom, she says, I saw a thong on the bathroom sink. So looks like Jack has been getting it on. Michelle then tells him that this girl who Jesse is dating reached out to her and threatened to sue her because Michelle had been talking about her. According to Janet, she said that this girl has also threatened to send cease and desists to her and some other people. Michelle then starts to cry. She says that she wants to try and act like everything is fine, but it really isn't. And she says that everything is just so exhausting. And they comfort her, they rally around her. And don't get me wrong, it's never good to see anybody cry. But I'm just like, okay, why can Michelle cry, but Jesse can't? Also, I'm sorry, but I need to hear from this other girl. I need to hear her side of the story, because any situation that involves Sheena, I'm questioning it. Janet then says that her birthday is coming up and she wants to have it at Dave and Buster's. We see a scene where Zach is at his apartment and he FaceTimes his ex, Benji, and they talk about if he's going to move in with him, and ultimately he says yes. That made Zach very happy. It looks like this season, Zach and Jasmine are going to have more of like a full-time role rather than just friends of, because they're in the cast, they're in the official cast picture, and they're even in the intro. So that was something that I definitely noticed. The next scene, and the final scene of the episode, which was the most intense, takes place at Jax's house. So Brittany is there, and so is little Cruz. When Jax sees Cruz, he grabs him, he gives him a kiss on the cheek, but Brittany right away says, "Don't kiss him. Don't give him a kiss." Jax says, "Why?" Well, it's because Brittany saw through the cameras that Jax had a girl over last night, and she left in the morning. And we all know what they did, okay? So she don't want no nasty fluids on the child's face. Of course, Jax then says, "Well, were you with Julian last night?" The nanny takes Cruz to the park. Meanwhile, Brittany tries to talk to Jax. Jax doesn't want to. He says, I'm not speaking to you. You're ruining my life." So he goes upstairs. He's packing for this retreat that he's going to. And then they begin to scream and shout. They fight. Jax says, "Go back to your boyfriend, Julian, who you've been hooking off for the past 5 months. Brittany says, "You were with a girl who just left this morning." Jax says, "Well, yeah, it's in my house. I pay for the bills. You've never paid for a bill." Brittany says, "I pay property taxes and I pay for the bills." Jax says, "You hook up with guys at your house?" Brittany says, "Yeah, because that's an Airbnb. I don't even recognize you anymore. Who are you?" Jax says, "I've begged you to check up on me. See how I'm doing." Brittany says, "Jax, you scared me. You need help. You need to go get help." Jax says, "You need help. And if you were so miserable, then why didn't you leave a long time ago?" Brittany says, "I've had to go get help for all the things you've done to me. You're a terrible person. You need to go get help for our son because he can't become a person like you when he grows up. I didn't make you throw chairs and punch holes in the walls." So that's where Jax kind of breaks the fourth wall. He says that he's done. They're calling each other toxic, and he kicks her out. She says, "You don't take responsibility for anything. You're probably not even going to stay there for 1 full day." Jax also accuses her of sending pictures of their son to other men. Brittany says, "If you do not stay there for the 30 days, I'm taking Cruz, I'm getting full custody, and I'm filing a restraining order, and you're going to lose your job because you do not need to be drinking, doing drugs, and running around with little sluts." Jax says, "Well, you've done the same thing." Brittany says, "No, you have an addiction, and you need to be honest." And then, you guys, Brittany just says it. She straight up says it. "You have a coke problem and need to tell the doctor." So, because Jason and Janet live super close, Brittany texts Jason, and Jason gets there, and he was going to take Jax to the facility, so Brittany ends up leaving. Jason takes Jax, and Jax is saying that he's scared. A month is a very long time. He says that he doesn't want to miss out for 30 days, and then that's where we leave it. Ooh, I'm telling you guys, that was a very intense towards the end. Seeing Brittany and Jax fight like this, it's a lot. They have a lot of issues, clearly. I'm sure that Brittany, she contributed to a lot of this, but I think at the end of the day, Jax is the most to blame. I mean, he is so grown, but yet he is so immature. And, it's always about what somebody else did. He never really takes accountability, and it's tough. It's very tough to watch. But you guys, let me know what your reactions were about this episode. What do you think is going to happen? Is he even going to stay the full 30 days? I'm not sure. But all I know is that there's a lot of drama going on, and it's very real. It's very real. So that was it, you guys, for episode 2. Let me know your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one.